Alright, I know what you're thinking. Why are you wearing a collared shirt in the workshop? And the reason is because we're working with walnut today. And with walnut, you gotta step it up. So in today's video, we're going to be building a walnut countertop. It's about 2 feet deep, 5 feet wide, and there's a few ways to do it. One is to do a glue up, which would be a nice, more of a butcher block countertop, and would also be a fortune. You would take pieces of walnut, let's say they were 3/4 of an inch or an inch wide. You would just layer them up and glue them all, squish it together, sand it flat, and you would use that. If you were just to buy it at a retail store in pieces, it's probably going to cost you at least $400 or $500 in material alone. There's a lot of material there, and walnut's a fortune. So what you do to save money in this instance is you buy some walnut plywood. Walnut plywood's about $100, and you protect the perimeter with a piece of true walnut. So then you buy some 1x2 walnut, give or take, and you just dado the perimeter. So then you would take your walnut and you would rabbet the edge, and rabbeting is essentially when you knock out the corner of your material so it sits in with it sits flush, and it gives you a stronger bond in the corner. We'll go over all that stuff later. But if you wanted to save a couple bucks, you could get some walnut edging. This is white melamine edging. This is white melamine, but let's say this was walnut and walnut. You could edge it on, and you can iron on this product. A lot of the times the wooden finishes are not iron on, so you'd have to use some contact cement. But anyway, that's for another video. So that would give you a nice edge too, but it just won't stand the test of time in my opinion, especially something that's going to get some traffic like a countertop. So we're going to rabbet the walnut, cut the piece of plywood to fit, and we're going to clear coat it with some polyurethane just to pop the grains. So let's get into that today. We've got this gorgeous piece of 3/4 inch walnut here, and I'm just going to pick the better of the two sides. This side looks really nice. Got a light scratch, but I think I can sand that out a little bit. So one thing you got to be really careful with these veneers is the veneer is so thin that you really can't sand much, little to nothing at all. So I might just give that a quick pass with 220, but that's going to be about it. So we've got a nice clean piece here. So we need this piece to be 26 by 63. So we've got lots of width, but we need some extra depth. So this is an offcut I had, and it just so happens it's going to be almost perfect. I'm a little bit short. I have 24 1/4, and I need it to be 26. So ideally I would have only liked to put a 3/4 inch strip, but I'm going to put something a little bit wider. So 26. So I've got some 1 7/8 inch stock here, and I'm going to put a piece of that on here. So let's see what we can do. So this is what we got for material. We got some 8/4 walnut, really nice piece, and I've got this walnut 3/4 inch walnut plywood. I need to build out 2 inches, or just short. I need like 1.5 inches on the front, and I'll do the same on the side, and we'll trim off the excess. This is a rough, well, it's been planed a little bit in the factory, but I'm gonna have to clean it up a little bit more than this. So I'll cut off a 2-inch block. Actually, it'll be a 1.5 inch block. We'll run it through the planer, clean it all up, and we'll do both sides, and we'll rabbet the corner, and we'll go from there. It didn't like that knot. Let's try that again. This is the plan for this edging. So our countertop, this is going to be the finish surface. This is going to be the face. The countertop is over here. It's going to be something like that, right? But what we're going to do is we're going to rabbet this corner. And rabbeting is just when you knock out a corner like this, and it's going to be, the height of it is going to be it's going to be exactly 3/4 of an inch, or what this material is. And then what that allows us to do is to get right in there, and it allows more gluing surface. So it just makes for a nice solid corner. We'll run this through the planer and clean it all up, and we'll rabbet that corner and get moving with this program. So I realize most people probably don't have a planer. You can get away with not planing it. You could sand it by hand if you'd like. Well, this rough sawn stuff, I wouldn't buy a rough sawn if you don't have a planer. Unless, well, I guess you could rip it on the table saw again and clean it up and then just sand it by hand. So it is doable. Where there's a will, there's a way. But I would try to get the material that suits your needs. So like if you need 3/4 of an inch, then buy some 1 inch, some 1x2 stock. Just buy what you need. That way it saves you doing all this stuff if you don't, obviously if you don't have the tool, because it's not a cheap tool to own, and but I just love using it. So I almost buy a rough sawn on purpose just so I can run it through the planer. Alright, so it's all set up, ready to go. I've just got to move my fence on the table saw. I've got enough length back here to feed the material and then I don't have to worry about that, but my dust collection system isn't 100% complete yet. This piece here I plan on using for, it's going to grab the dust or the sawdust from the top of my table saw, the top of the blade, and I'm going to be making a video soon on how I plan on doing that. It essentially is collected into this dust deputy back here, and I've got ports all over the place. So like I said, I'll make another video about that, but this will do just fine for what I've got here. So I just took a piece of pipe and I duct taped it to this fitting here. So let's start planing some material. So the planer, amongst many other tools, is a loud one. So these things I've had for years, but they're the best. I can listen to the radio as I'm working, so I actually use them to cut the lawn, snow blow the snow in the wintertime. So I'll put a link in the description on where you can buy these, and yeah, worth every penny. Alright, so we got our pieces all cut, and man, like, I just love walnut. It's just gorgeous. The grain structure on these things is, oh, it's incredible. I love it. It's my favorite species. Just saying. Hence the shirt. So we're down to just proud of 1 3/4 inch by 1 3/8. So we're nice. This is all nice and dressed. Got a really nice finish on it, and nice and smooth. It hardly needs a sand, so we'll just run. We'll do that rabbet next, and we're ready to put it in. We'll be ready to put it together. All right, now let's get that rabbet, cut out the pieces of walnut. I've gone ahead and put these 2 pieces. I mean, you could use anything, but I have some melamine kicking around, so I glued up. I didn't glue it up. I nailed it. And I'm gonna do some practice pieces on this, so I can get the blade fine-tuned just right. So, and don't do like I do, and do as I say, not as I do, because I went ahead and blasted through some nails that I thought were 1 1/4 inch, 1 3/4. So I actually nailed it to my work table. Anyway, having a moment, but let's get the saw tuned up into the right place, and yeah, go from there. Pretty damn close. I think we're good. So I'm actually just going to knock this out just to get a better measurement. So I just don't want to move my table saw blade. And it's near perfect, so we're going to go with that. Alright, now we're going to want to cut this right out. So got to make sure our blade is just a hair higher than this cut. Just a hair. So we got the height right. Now we got to set the width. So I don't want to take off much because I want to maximize my overhang. So when you're doing cuts like this, you got to watch out, because that little piece that you're cutting is going to want to shoot back at you. So just be mindful of that. Also be mindful that that's the finished surface, and you should have a 0 clearance insert in here. Alright, so we've got our rabbet, and let's test fit it.